I keep saying I'm going to because I really like the artist, and it has great covers. But
Uh-oh. It's just gonna be shady.
no, I'm not. What does that mean? I'm not a.
Uh-huh.
I just haven't had time to jump into it.
Okay. Well, you should because it's really good. Um, so like you said, this art is just phenomenal. Bruno Redondo is easily becoming one of my favorite artists currently out art right now. He
Mm-hmm.
truly has not missed. Like this is some great stuff. I don't think Dick has ever looked as good as he does. I know what I just said. I mean, but
Yeah.
hey.
All right. Hello, 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 everybody. We are back for another relaunch, you guys. Hi, I am Keenan.
What's up, everybody? I am LZ.
How are you doing this week, LZ?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty
Okay.
good. Um,
Are you sure?
I
No, you don't
wait.
sound too convinced.
I was trying to remember. I was trying to remember if it was last week that I went to that
Oh, the
that
murder
dinner.
mystery. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yes.
yeah.
How
Okay,
was
so that was
that?
last weekend. So like, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I had this pearl set,
I love it.
and
Oh, did you watch the clips I sent you of
I
Brie?
did, I did, I
Okay.
did. It was great.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Good. Good. Good.
It was really funny. I had my blonde wig on, and it turns out that so like I was this housewife, and my husband, who I named him Walter, he um he was always away. He wanted to like have this political career, so I kept like a nice home. So, but everyone thought that like I did it because I was too nice. And like I would get up and like try to clean things, and like I was always correcting people at the dinner
Yeah.
table, and like being like, oh, you should act more like a lady. We're at a dinner party, and it turned out my secret why people thought that I was the murderer was because I was sleeping with the gardener.
Oh, oh, this is
The
very
scandal.
Desperate Housewives. I enjoy this. I enjoy this character for you. I'm very happy about this.
Sleeping with the gardener, and she didn't want that to get out.
Okay.
The person who like get killed was like gonna put their secret out because I needed to have this like perfect image for my husband who was
You
going to be like a political
for
career.
Walter.
Yeah.
Yes. I
So
love
a
that.
lot of people at the dinner did think that
The murderer.
I was selling it that like I was
Okay.
like perfect and like no I could never do this. But of course I actually end up not being the murderer.
Okay. Well, were you able to figure out who the murderer was?
I had no idea. No, it was actually really cool. So like I never really done a lot of these things before.
Yeah.
So it was really cool that my friend like kind of set this thing up for a murder
Mhm.
mystery like at his house because everything here at that time wasn't open just yet. So like we did it at his home. It was
Mhm.
really cool.
Okay, that's really dope. I love a good murder mystery. So I'm glad you have it. If you've never done a murder mystery, anyone, you should go and do one. They're amazing.
Check those out. That was a lot of fun.
And speaking of murder and mysteries, let's go ahead and get to these comics for the week. All right. And the first one has a lot of both of those actually. It's Seven Secrets, number 9. You know this is like my favorite book. And this is from Tom Taylor, Nicole DiNiglo, and Walter Biamonte is on the colors for this. So I don't know if you remember the last time I told you, but basically the entire little group is on the run because their headquarters has been destroyed. People are trying to get the secrets that they're holding on to, and so they finally get to this place where they get a moment to rest. And they kind of decide the head holder who like knew all of the secrets, she died, so they have to pick somebody new. They pick the main character Casper's mom to do it because they're like, you've kind of been leading everybody ever since all these people have died. Like, you've been here for a very long time. You even gave up your own son so you could like keep your secrets. So she accepts, and they start revealing all the secrets to her. And then one of the ones that they reveal is that her husband, or her like baby father, Casper's dad, who like who was dead, he's alive. And
Oh,
so she
okay.
like, yeah, he's actually been with their team the entire time they've been on the run. He's just had a mask on, so it was like really dope. And then the people who are after them are kind of on the side, and they're planning their revenge to get the people out and kill them. The book is just hitting all cylinders for me. There's so many, and this is one of those books where a lot of people are looking for diversity in their stories. There's so many black, brown, Asian faces that are leading
Yes.
the cast and like doing all these things, and just it's exciting, it's fun. Again, we've talked so many times about how Tom Taylor does really well with nailing character interaction and like getting just the personality through in those heartfelt moments. I love all of these people. This is genuinely one of my favorite books. But of course, it's from Boom Studios, and Boom is kind of like killing it.
You know, I've heard, aren't they doing a Power Rangers book right now too? I've
Yeah,
heard
they
a
do.
really good things about that.
Like, I hear nothing but great things about
Yeah, yeah.
it.
I never
um,
pick them up. Like, I'm not that into Power Rangers, which is wild because, like, yo,
growing up,
when I growing up, that was like,
what else would you do? Do you know how many times I asked my mom, like, for Halloween if I could be the Pink Ranger? I had to be the red one, but
I
I.
was the Black Ranger 2 Halloweens in a row. That's I was obsessed. So shout out to them for
um,
having some right now.
Yeah, they're killing it. So for this issue, I definitely give it a 4 out of 5. I will never stop recommending it to people. It's good. You should go pick it up. Next up on the list is another Boom Studios book, and this is The Many Deaths of Laila Starr #3. Now, we know this is a Rand V. Stain account. I think we've all fully accepted it. We just get it. This issue is no different than all the other ones. It's amazing. So I don't know if you remember what I told you about it, but Death was fired from like her pantheon because there
Right.
was a
Yeah.
guy who created everlasting life, and so now she's in the body of Laila Starr, and she keeps dying in all these various ways. But the god of life, Prana, like keeps bringing her back. He's like, I love you. He's like, you're my other half. I can't do anything without you. So he likes her a lot. Not like love, as in it's a platonic love. But in this issue, Layla is at this party and she's making out with girls and she's smoking and she meets this boy who just got dumped by his girlfriend. And he kind of starts telling her about how his friend recently just died. And the last time they saw each other, they were fighting over the girlfriend who just dumped him, and they kind of go into his backstory about that. Turns out the young boy is the guy who's going to create everlasting life and who got death fired. And so it's just kind of a deeper backstory into him and like why he goes about to find this way that people can never die. And so then Layla, the cigarette catches fire, or it gets on the couch and the couch catches fire, and then the whole apartment burns down where the party is, and Layla's the only person in the party who dies in the party. And so, and so after Prana brings her back again, he's like, I can't keep doing this. You're going to get me in trouble. I need you to be a little bit more careful. But he reveals to her that it was the boy, and then he says, I know where he is. He's a little bit older now. Do you want to go meet him? So this time she's been dead for 16 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so like he's getting to the point where he's about to create immortality. And so I
Yeah.
mean it's just Felipe Andrade's art is just so ethereal and colorful and mesmerizing, and you are just drawn into the page. It's almost like water, the way the lines kind of flow into each other. I cannot highlight it enough. It's just amazing. Ranvi is great. It's 5 out of 5 for me.
Wow. Okay.
For
Okay.
me. For me.
I'm gonna have to jump into this book because wow at my own podcast really put me on so book because it just sounds so good and Ramby is a great writer, so I need to jump into this.
I don't know what lives in that man's mind, but I'm
Yeah.
here for it. So yeah, that's that. So next up on the list, and here he is again. It's another Ram V book.
All right,
It's
Ramby.
I should say though, I had a really good comics week this week, so that's something please. But Catwoman number 32, and this is from Ram V, and we had a different artist than we have. It's been Blanco Fernando, who's been doing that like honeycomb design that I always talk about.
Yeah.
This issue had a different artist. His name's Evan Cagle. Just as great on the art. Really sold it. This issue was so good. So I don't remember. It's basically a bunch of different characters talking about Selena. This villain of the book is looking for her, and he's kind of saying, "Tell me what you know about Selena." And he starts telling the story about when they were on a heist mission together, and there was this guy who she was in love with, and then the guy died. But Selena, instead of kind of disbanded, the rest of the people in the group disbanded, but she stayed, and it was basically so she could go after the guy who killed the boyfriend but she didn't kill him. She like stole all his stuff and then put out some incriminating evidence to get him arrested for a really long time. And the guy was like, "It's just about Selena letting you know that she could do this, that she could kill you if she wanted to, and that she could take you down." And it was just
I need to jump into this. I
love it. And so then we see a different story, and this one's actually from her sister. Now, again, I think I've said before, I have always kind of like Catwoman from afar. I didn't know too much about her. This girl's her sister, apparently, Maggie. And she's talking to these police officers who are looking for Catwoman. And so she starts telling the story about how she had got kidnapped and Selena came to save her, and she just like beat the crap out of these people. And she's like, you know, the one thing you learn about Selena is that the only way to like stay safe or like to know anything about her is to stay away from her. She's like, so if you want to like live, you should leave Selena alone. And it's just like, yes, this is the doll. And then there's another one. She kind of owns Alleytown, and so the GCPD are harassing people. You know what cops do. And they corner all these kids, and they're also looking for Selena. And the girl's like, "Do you think anybody in Alleytown is gonna help you find Selena Kyle?" And they tell the story about when she was a little girl and she was kind of running the streets of Alleytown and how she was helping save people and like getting maps and like evading the cops. And it was just like everyone loves her. This is her town. It's like you are never going to succeed here. It's just a really dope issue. Like, I think this run has probably made me a Catwoman fan.
Okay. I mean, Selena's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. A 4 out of 5 for sure. Great art. It's just a good book.
You know, I've always been a fan of Selena's, and I think like you, I've never really dived into her character just because there's so much of it. Mm-hmm. But I've read some stuff with her before, and I've been meaning to get into this run, this Rebirth run specifically, which is still this, right? This is still like from the Rebirth relaunch, right?
I mean, I think everything's kind of like post-future state now. I don't know if that, you know DC in the timeline. Right. Well, because we're also moving into like Infinite Frontier. I don't know. There's a lot of things.
Well, I mean like the numbering and all that. Like it's still like.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
They didn't relaunch her book or anything, right?
I don't think so.
That's one thing DC does do is like they keep their books going.
Okay. They will let something last. But no, the villain of the story is also really creepy. He's this guy. He's got long hair. He's got a hat. He actually kills the first guy who he was trying to get information about Selena from, and it's a really sad scene actually because the guy's like bleeding out and dying, and he's like, "No, Selena's gonna come save me. Selena's gonna come save me," but she's got some other stuff going on, so she's nowhere to be found. Highly recommend anybody pick up Catwoman. So yeah. Next up on the list, we have Nightwing 81, and this is from Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I still have not jumped in on this.
That's all right.
I keep saying I'm going to because I really like the artist, and it has great covers, but...
Uh-oh. It's just going to be shady.
No, I'm not. What does that mean? I'm not I just haven't had time to jump into it.
Okay. Well, you should because it's really good. So like you said, this art is just phenomenal. Bruno Redondo is easily becoming one of my favorite artists currently art right now. He truly has not missed. Like this is some great stuff. I don't think Dick has ever looked as good as he does. I know what I just said. I mean, but hey, I don't think he's ever looked as good as he has in this book. It looks beautiful. The way that whenever Dick has a lot of like acrobatic moves, so he's swinging and flipping and doing all that kind of stuff. In his fight scenes, he's more agile than putting in like brute strength into his stuff. Mm-hmm. So in this issue, like last issue, Nightwing was trying to save some kids from Heartless, who was stealing all these hearts from parents and basically making these kids orphans. You kind of find out he's just been doing it because he wants to. He is right. He's also enhanced, and so he's got like a little bit of strength on him. He's a little bit of speed, but he's not a good fighter. So Nightwing can handle him there. But he does end up burning the tents and everything where the kids were. So all the kids are running scared. Nick, right?
I don't know why. Like I just imagine all these little kids,
The little kids
run screaming.
and like they're like tents are on fire.
Like I don't know why that's so funny to me. Oh man.
So Nightwing ends up calling in Robin, Tim Drake, to assist and really kind of guide the kids and make sure they're okay. They start running towards the pier. Turns out Heartless was doing this on purpose because he was going to blow up the pier.
Love a good villain. I love it.
Nightwing said he put in a call for the people of Bloodhaven to send out some boats and stuff. He was afraid they weren't going to come through for him, but they ended up coming through. It was a really cool Easter egg in it. All of the boats, you know how like when you call out a boat and they're like, oh, this is whatever, calling in from X coordinates. The boats were all named previous Nightwing writers. So like the Sealy.
Oh,
that's cute. I thought that was cool. So then later, though, we find out that this Zuko woman, who is now the mayor of Bloodhaven, she got some tea on her. Find out that she's like had done some shady stuff. The Nightwing had a concussion and passed out. When he woke up, Oracle kind of gave him this tea on Zuko. He couldn't sit still, of course, so he runs out and tries to break into her home. Breaks in, gets the drop on him, and ends up being unmasked. Finds out that Zuko is the family that killed his parents. Turns out this girl is his sister. So he thought that she was the daughter of the Zukos. Turns out that like she is his sister. So we're going to find out exactly how. Maybe his dad kind of, you know how men are.
Okay.
So maybe his dad dipped off and had the little girls, but we'll see. I'm not the biggest fan of the sister reveal trope or like the sibling reveal. No.
I kind of love a sibling reveal. It's spicy. It's just like, where you been all this time?
Hate it. Exactly. So, I'm like, this is too forced for me. But
I'm like, who stepped out? Like, what's going on here? Let me know. This is mess.
This is mess. We'll see. I'm into it because Tom is really killing this. So like, I'm in all the way.
Yeah, I heard the book keeps it keeps selling out. So like every issue is sold out. So it keeps going to second printings.
When you're hot.
Yeah. So it's like shout out to that. Because I think we said it. The Nightwing fans have had it kind of rough.
Yes, we've been on here struggling. Struggling. They even breaking up in here how he got shot in the head before, and like it's been a patch.
And then
we back.
And Tim, this is the book made for you.
This is it.
You know. What would you rate this issue?
I would give this a 4 out of 5. Definitely. It was better to me than the last issue, which was still really good. This one, I like a little action scene here and now and then. So.
And Bruno, I'm sure, killed it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's dope. Good for them. So next up on our list.
Yeah.
I guess. Next up on the list. Oh, wow. So I know this was actually a big one for you. It's Static. #1, his new series has finally debuted. Vita Ayala is on writing duties, and then Nicholas Draper Ivy is drawing. And I've actually followed him on Instagram for a while, so that's kind of really dope to see him rise and get to finally draw this comic book character that he has obviously loved for like just as much as you have.
Oh, that's dope. I've never heard of the artist prior to this issue, so that's really cool that he got to like.
It was years ago that I came across his art. He's really into anime, so he's got like a anime influence style. And I was like, yeah. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's dope. But I know this is huge for you, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of forgot this came out this week, I didn't read it. but shout out to the DC Infinite app, because if you have it, the first issue is available on there.
Yes, it is. You can
So
go on
you
there
can.
right now and read it for free. And if you have the DC Infinite app. And also shout out to DC Comics because I saw on their Twitter they were doing a pretty good job like promoting the book,
They're letting you
pushing.
know he's here. He's here.
Yeah. And I have to say that I am so excited to have him back. Now, we did a Static and Milestone panel before, and I talked about it, so I won't even go too crazy into it, how much like Static means to me as a character. Um, Not only in like physical representation of him being like a black character, but just being like some big-headed nerdy kid that just, has powers. So, but the issue for me, we talked about it before, was the whole Milestone relaunch, and I was a little bit apprehensive about it and a little nervous because the people who created Milestone love them, legendary, iconic, but I necessarily didn't need them to come back and really give their voice to this character because it can get a little, you know,
Hey, fellow
out.
kids.
Hey, fellow kids, when they start talking. So
Or
I
bring up the
was
Wu-Tang Clan.
child, and luckily enough, there was none of that. And and then also though, like on the flip side of that, there are times when there are more like younger writers who write this and they go like too far into the teen speak or something, but this didn't have any of that. So Vita did a fantastic job, I think, really capturing the voice of Static
Yeah.
and his entire family and his sister and all of that. I don't like the art at all.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that. Um, it's giving like anime blurred, and that's not me. I don't need that. And but the story was great. I will say this kind of highlighted something for me, which I noticed that might be something that rings true across a lot of like Vita's work for me. They can really capture like the voice and emotional beats of a character. Like I think in this and other books of theirs that I've read, they really know like what the character is all about and how to get their voice right. But for some reason, like this lacked like some punch for me. You know what I mean? Like, so this story, like again, you end up getting reacclimated to Static. It's him getting his powers and the whole Big Bang. You get introduced to Frida and all of that. There was a fight at the school in the previous Zero issue, but in in this issue, they don't even like rehash the fight. They tell you to go back and read it in Zero. And I was afraid that when he had that fight, he was like fighting all out in the open. And like people saw him, and I was like, so are they gonna get rid of the whole like I have a secret identity thing? But they explained it in this issue that he like took out the cameras and only Richie and Frida saw him, and they had already known about his powers anyway. They're like his close friends, so it's fine now. So that worry was taken care of. Vita did pull out a really cool science moment for me, which was Hot Streak, who is like his main villain, shows up at Static's home to like call him out and kind of attack him at his home. And Static pulls up a electromagnetic field and like he tells him like why it's gonna work. And I was living for all the science in it. But like again, I don't know.
So when you say that you feel Vita's work lacks bite, do you mean in terms of conflict, like between the characters? Is everyone getting along too much, or is it?
No, it's not the conflict where they're getting along too much. It's not like everyone's like having this kumbaya circle and everybody's friends. It's like there's excitement missing from it. It's like I read it and I go, oh, this was great because the characters were great, but like there wasn't too many things that were really exciting about it.
Okay, so you want like a fight or something in there, like a fight.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a fight because Hickman is one of my favorite writers, and if not my favorite comic book writer. And a lot of his comics don't always have like crazy fight scenes or something like that, or even also just have like crazy fight scenes and stuff. But like the punch is there in the way that the dialogue is written, and probably also it could also maybe lean a little bit on the art and the way that the paneling and everything is kind of set up, where you kind of feel that punch from the book. But for me and Vita's writing, I never really feel that like
It's not memorable.
right.
Okay.
Not to say that it's
It's
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
It's just you walk away thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, they had a conversation, but you
Yeah.
can't really tell anybody what the conversation was about. Okay, I understand
It's
that.
like I keep waiting for there's just like some like hammer to drop or some kind of like, oh man, I see that moment happened, but nothing. Now in this book, probably that moment would have been Hot Streak showing up at Static's home. But like that didn't have too much punch to it. It just kind of happened. Yeah.
Okay.
I will say again, like the coloring in this was also kind of bad. Everybody was really light and kind of faded out. But I guess I saw that the artist say something that they were going to fix that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I said I saw some tweets about that, but he specifically said that he also saw the issue and he was going to darken their skin tones. So I was like, that was a nice little self-awareness. What would you rate the issue?
I would give this a solid 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Solid 3 out of 5. I think Vita really put you back on track with Static. I do think that it woke up some things with me where I had to kind of have a realization about Static, and that is Static. I guess this is only going to be like 10 issues, I think. After this 10 issues, for me, if they're going to do a season 2, he needs to grow up, because I don't want to rehash all the stuff that
he's been in high school for a long time now.
Exactly.
I don't want almost
the same stuff again.
Almost every DC's character who he came up with, even though he's like milestone, but like all those DC characters who are around his age have all grown up or like gotten some type of age advancement. So yeah, I could see that.
It's time. This was fine and all, but like if they refuse to let him grow up, I end up losing like interest in him because I don't care about these kids. But I will always have him as like the thing that got me into this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it for the most part, though.
I was nervous. I was nervous.
Nah, I'm sure. Well, that is good to know. So, next up on our list, this is Demon Days, Mariko #1, and this is just all from Peach Momoko. She's been doing these reimagined fairy tale stories of Marvel heroes, and this one has Mariko Yoshida, who was Wolverine's love interest, and Black Widow in it. I don't even have to talk about this too much. Like, Peach is the future. Like, I've said it before on this podcast. I remember she was one of my artists of the year. Like, yeah, she is it. This whole tale is really good. It's just a reimagined fantasy tale where she's going through trying to fight some Oni, and then she realizes that she is part Oni, and then the Black Widow was supposed to be a spy to kill her, but she's grown attached to her because she's been her nanny the whole time. It's just so good. It's a 4 out of 5. Everyone should pick them up. There's the next installment's coming out soon also, and they're always like a little preview page of it. It's going to be Jubilee, Mystique, Spider-Gwen, and Sabretooth.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So these are just fun little stories. Everyone should get them. Also out was the Mighty Valkyries #3. This is from Jason Aaron and Tom Grombuck, and then there is a backup story written by Gronbeck with art from Erica D'Urso, excuse me.
I thought you was letting this go.
I mean, I picked it up anyway. It's Asgard. And like, I don't know. So it's like, it's got interesting bits, but the story is moving at a snail's pace. Basically, Carnella has done something where she has created her own gods, and it's these 3 little black girls. They're so adorable. And Loki, she got a strand of Jane's hair from Loki because she wanted Jane to be tied to the little goddesses forever, so if anything ever happened to them, Jane would have to come and protect them. This is all because Hela has returned, and we don't know what Hela's planning. She's just like being Hela. And Kraven is trying to get this Wolfman thing named Moore because he's supposed to be dangerous, but apparently Jane doesn't think he's dangerous, so she's protecting him. And then the backup story is Runa has just rescued a oracle who could like tell her about her life, and he basically tells her that all the stuff is going on. Like this stuff is happening with Jane and this dog. There are these little goddesses that have been created. This river, like hell is back, and so she's like, okay, crap. Now I got to go back to Jane. So the two stories have finally intersected, or they're going to intersect by the next issue. But it's also just kind of like, all right. The thing is, Mateo de Luis is doing the art, beautiful style, but he has a very the book feels very decompressed. So it's like he's got these like beautiful splash pages, but nothing's happening in them. So it's just so it's just like four big beautiful pages of characters just standing there looking at each other, and it's kind of like, all right, I'm ready to get the story moving. I'm ready for something to happen. But we do find out, so at the end of the issue, Jane goes back to her job. She's been working at the morgue, and they talk about how there's some woman causing a ruckus in the morgue, and the boss is like, Jane, you're late, but I won't say anything about that if you go handle this woman. Get down there, it's this black woman. She's like going through all of the drawers at the morgue. She's like, I'm looking for them. I know they're here. They have to be here. She was pregnant. She was 36 weeks pregnant with triplet girls. And then they said they think it was a phantom pregnancy because the babies no longer exist. These are 3 little babies that Carnella has.
That's kind of interesting.
Right? So I was like, okay. So we got to the end. I was like, okay, now we move it. But it just took us like but I was just like, gosh, I felt like we could have got rid of a couple of those other pages and like kind of got to the sooner to like really start moving the story along, because again, I do think this is only 5 issues and this was issue 3. But yeah, so that's the thing. So we're just I'm really in this point, I'm only in it for Carnella, the babies, and this black woman. Like, what's going on with them? The 3 little girls have power.
That is who you're talking about. You're talking about the one who gave birth to the 3?
Yeah, because she's distraught. The new Valkyrie Rona, she's like fine, but at the same time, she's still not really grabbing me. But again, they're kind of moving at a snail's pace with like what's going on with her too. So all out, give it like a 3.5 out of 5. I think both artists did an amazing job. This Carnella plot is really kind of selling me, because I would like to know how she created these goddesses, what's really going on, why does she want them tied to Jane, how does she take them from this woman's belly. So that's that. Next up on the list, Heroes Reborn number 7. Event of the summer. And let me tell you. So Jason Aaron, he does the first story with Aaron Cooter. I don't know if you remember his art. He did do you remember the Guardians series where they finally brought Eve Balkian to the 616? That he drew that, and I think he did Death of X too, which we don't talk about. But
oh yeah.
He joins the main story on this one, and so basically the Squadron Supreme has just realized that the Avengers are there, and they're trying to track them down. So we get to see all of the different squadron members kind of interacting with each other, and throughout the issue we see different parts of their history. So we see like their version of the Civil War that they had, which was Hyperion versus Nighthawk, and they talk about how it was really started over Power Princess because both of them wanted to be with her. We see Zarda, who is Power Princess, interacting with Nighthawk, and he's like, your boyfriend doesn't like when it's just me and you together. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, what's your problem? She says to him, she's like, oh, I can never be with you anyway. She's like, I'd crush you. She's like, but you'd probably like that, wouldn't you? I was like, this is a girl you would like.
She seems like my kind of girl.
You would like her. I've been saying she's the Wonder Woman that people want to read, not the one that everyone thinks they're reading. But and so we just see like a bunch of different things that happen with them. She talks about she actually killed Jean Grey because they find footage of like Echo and they see her with the Phoenix, and she's like, oh no, I killed the Phoenix. Like, why is she around? Just good stuff. And so the end of the issue, they kind of discover Wakanda. And so they're talking about how they can't tell Phil Coulson anything because he's the president of this United States in here. And they're like, we got to figure out what's going on. But Coulson is using all of his Mephisto invested power. He already knows. He can like listen in on all the conversations they're having. And when they get to Wakanda, the real Avengers are there. It's Steve and Blade and Thor and Echo, Starbrand Baby, and so they're getting ready to fight. And Phil Coulson has, which I assume is supposed to be a cosmic cube, but it's red, and it's called like a red pandemonium. Pandemonium? I have to look because I forgot the name of it, but it's like a red cosmic cube basically.
Okay.
And he's saying how he's going to use that because obviously he doesn't want the world to turn back to whatever it is. And that was
Wait,
how
it's
the
called
issue.
it's called a pandemonium thing.
Hold on, let me look it up right now. Actually,
I wonder if that's actually. I wonder if, and it's related to Mephisto.
yes.
Did Mephisto used to have like a little
Oh,
lackey named Pandemonium?
it's called the Pandemonium Cube.
I wonder if that's related to him.
Maybe. Um, but yeah, so he has that, and that's where the issue ends. And so that was the end of Heroes Reborn.
Oh,
And
that
so
was the end. Okay.
that was the last issue. So next month we hit Heroes Return.
And now is Heroes Return also like a 6-week thing, or is it?
I guess I honestly couldn't tell you anything about this event. I've just been reading. I didn't even know it was weekly until like the third issue. So
What would you rate this issue?
Oh, I'm rated 4 out of 5. The art was good. Like, this is good.
Wow. Okay.
Like Heroes Reborn is good. I'm telling you, when you read it, when I eventually get you to read it, you're gonna be having so much fun with it. It's great. They talk about how Wolverine, he like kind of killed Hyperion at one point in time because he had his claws enhanced by magic, and Hyperion's weak to magic. It's like it's good stuff. You see Zarda, she actually kills Nighthawk's villain while he's in his prison because she's trying to get information out of him, and he's like playing games with her, and he starts talking about her dead sisters, and so she punches him through the chest. And she's like, I don't know how Nighthawk let this man live for so long. She's like, I don't do this with my villains. And I was like, again, this is the Wonder Woman that people want because Wonder Woman always used to say she doesn't have villains, but it's like Cheetah's still kicking, so or she deals with all her villains, but ain't nobody dead for real, so I don't know what she's talking about.
I mean,
But Heroes Reborn, you guys should get into it. It's fantastic. Next up on our list is we're getting into our X books now, so we can kind of talk about these a little bit together. But we had Planet X-Men #1 from Jerry Dugan and Pepper Larraz. We had New Mutants #19 from Vita Ayala, and I actually forgot the artist's name. I think it was Derek Lenz. I'm gonna go back and check. And X-Corp #2 from Teeny Howard and Delandra. Now, let's talk about Planet Size first. Because I know you want to talk about Planet Size first.
You know I do. Because, wow.
What a moment.
You know, what a moment. I literally just, I think on the previous episode, we were just talking about like cosmic stuff and everything. And if there's one thing I have always liked, one trope about the X-Men that I've always liked is X-Men in space. I feel like I know I might be in the minority there amongst X fans, but I know I'm in the minority there. But I like the X-Men in space. I love it.
Okay.
And this was the ultimate like X-Men in space. You know? I got Magneto. All of my favorite characters got to flex. Again, on that previous panel talking about stuff, I said like a lot of my favorite kind of characters are usually energy manipulators or some kind of power where them being on Earth like wouldn't make sense because they're too powerful. So all of my favorites got to go out into space and really flex just how powerful they really are. I mean, you had Magneto literally create the core of a planet. Bringing in enough iron. Exodus. Wow. The MVP.
I'm still kind of confused on the whole inverting of the external gate thing. I wasn't really sure how that happened. Were they like pushing everyone through it? Like, what was going on there?
Okay, so the way I interpreted it, and maybe we can ask Jerry Duggan or something to explain exactly what happened. But the way I interpreted it was the Otherworld gate went like to Arakko, right? So if they inverted it, it would take Arakko from its place, right?
Okay.
That's the way I interpreted it. So Jean like linked all their minds together, and that way Exodus was able to know where everybody was on that
Mhm.
island, and was able to like use his telekinesis, invert the portal, the gate, and then use his teleportation power to teleport it to Mars, thus pulling Arakko to Mars.
Oh,
And
okay.
he,
So
and he
I
got
guess
all of his like knowledge from that Latuka character. I
I
think
guess
Latopa.
I didn't factor in Exodus's teleportation abilities.
Yes, he has that. He doesn't use them that often, and like in my head canon, they're like an offshoot of his psychic power because he doesn't teleport in the same manner of like a like magic or Nightcrawler or something like that. It's always been seen as like a kind of he can point to something and like imbue it with energy or something, and then to teleport that to another space, like
Hmm.
pretty far. He's got a pretty vast range, or he can like basically open portals, kinda. In my head, he's like telekinetically ripping open portals, and that's how he's able to
Okay.
tele. Or
This
he could
has
just
got a
have the
lot of power.
teleportation power. But yeah, he's not that great with it, so he don't use it that often.
Okay. There was a moment for
Except
him though.
right now, we to like teleport him.
It's like, yeah, I guess. Great issue. Shout out to Exo Swords for bringing Arakko and the Iraqi mutants to the forefront and really helping push mutant kind to new limits and to
Yeah.
doing new things. We salute you. We respect you.
On
Loved.
a whole new climate.
I was
Like,
about to say Storm creating a whole new climate. It was really great to see all the Omegas kind of like get to flex their stuff. The stuff with King Jamie and giving birth to Sword Station 2,
mhm.
and just the way Pepe did that, actually giving birth.
Yes.
And then the sperm going into the brain. That entire page was just fantastic. Just it was an
Even
issue.
flexing her Omega level telepath abilities by like being so powerful to alter the memories of someone who can alter reality is very powerful. And like to know that for Jamie to create Sword the correct way, it would have to be his own idea.
Mm-hmm.
That way, like he wouldn't try to be shifty about it if it was his own
Mm-hmm.
idea. But to embed that in his mind so deep, like that's wow.
She did that. Good
Yeah,
moment for her, especially
yeah,
since she had to throw that really heavy station into space afterwards.
yeah.
So,
Magneto,
um,
rest
oh,
easy, rest
breathe
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
She was good, and then she needed to rest. No, it was just a dope issue. Just great stuff all around. I was really impressed. It was really just amazing to see all the different designs or minor designs we could see of the Iraqi mutants when they came through, actually getting to the place, how they created like the port for all of the visitors to come, and this is where they would stay, but still letting them know that if you go beyond these borders, like you subjected to the wildlife of the Iraqi, which you also saw kind of when they were getting inverted through the portal. That was cool. Pepe's eye for design for eye, or his eye for design,
Hmm.
it's good. He's up there.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
up there. Um,
I'm excited for what they're about to do with this planet Arakko. And I think if you remember a while ago during one of our reviews of talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy and not Sword, but it could have been either one. And I had said that like I had a feeling that Ewing is brewing up something out there in space because it looks like another
mm-hmm,
like annihilation was gonna happen. And I was
mm-hmm.
like, I think he's gonna use Storm as like the key to all of this.
I mean,
I
they've been hinting that she's going to space.
I think that she is gonna be the regent of Soul.
Oh, I can see that. It would be nice. Good for
Hmm.
her. I like that role for her. She needs something to do. She's free of morale.
Listen, I love Storm in space. That
Let
way
the
she
girl
gets to
have
go do
something.
something.
I was gonna say, let her go do something. She needs to. She deserves. Good
Let her go
moment for
do
her.
something.
Going over to New Mutants, obviously we had such a huge moment in Planet X. We kind of get a tone down when we get to New Mutants, and the artist's name was Alec Lens, by the way. Um, it's interesting since you just said that about Vita and like the excitement. This is an issue where I feel like there's a little bit of that, but then also they move away from it. because I feel as though some of those conversations with the New Mutants, the OG team, and everybody knows I'm like an OG New Mutant stan, they were really well done. Like the stuff with Danny and Wolfsbane and like Magic getting Danny to help James out of the suit and things like that, great, but I don't necessarily remember it. However, I do specifically remember the talk that Warpath had with Warlock, and I specifically remember the punch of Gabby at the end of the issue. Spoiler alert, she's dead. Which, you know. But I think that kind of punched for me just because it was more so the implications. We've kind of been having Gabby talk about the whole cloning process of the resurrection protocols. And, you know, people are still kind of calling into question since they didn't let Maddie come back. So I think that's what.
Really don't know why y'all need that girl to come back. She's not real.
People like her. People like her. She's not real. They do need to let her rest in peace. It's not even the same thing. But anyways, no. But again, like this is just for Gabby and kind of what she's doing. So I thought that was really nice, and this was a decent issue. I think this is probably one of Vita's best issues of New Mutants since they took over the title. Yeah,
this was a really great issue. Again, I felt the same things about this issue that I did about Static, in a different way though, because Static, this was like his comeback, so I was super excited for that. But with New Mutants, again, there was fantastic character moments that Vita has, and again, the voice of the characters all seem right. I am not the biggest New Mutants fan outside of Magic and Warpath. And I think, Danny's cool, obviously. But
I love the way Danny was working the party too.
Yeah. I will say this. Do you watch American Dad?
Oh yeah.
Do you read Drunk Nightcrawler as Klaus? Because that's what I feel like.
Oh, that's actually really funny.
That's what I hear in my head whenever he's been drunk. He's been drunk like the whole night.
He's getting lit. He's having a good time. Shout out to that. He's stressed. He's going through it.
Every time I hear Klaus, whenever Klaus is like drunk.
I actually like that a lot. I'm gonna go back and read that in Klaus's voice now.
But yeah, the book is really good. I don't think that Gabby is dead, in my opinion. I think they found a empty shell of her body. I think that she's working with Shadow. Yeah.
How do you feel about Vita Shadow King?
You know, I don't really know, because I don't really know how I feel about the Shadow King and Farouk were like separated now, right?
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was used to kind of wash away their like problem, so that they could so that Shadow King, or at least Farouk, could be used in this book, and not where like he is super evil as the Shadow King. I
like my Shadow King super evil.
Right. You know.
I don't need a redeemed Shadow King does not. And I get it, the era of second chances, but it's like some people are just bad.
He could be a little. I expect him to be a little shady, and I don't think that they needed to be separated for that.
Yeah. Okay. And then continuing on in the Gala Night with X-Corp. Now, I've said this before. I actually think this book is fine. I thought the first issue was fine. I think this one was fine as well. I also think it was an improvement over the first issue. I just feel like the concept of this mutant boardroom Big Brother thing is boring. And I think that the characters involved in it are not interesting characters. So reading pages and pages of Angel and Madrix and
keep going
Mastermind. It's just like not. I think Monet is. So I will say that Monet, I thought was fine this issue. The Celine bits I thought were very interesting. I would love to see. I would have enjoyed more Celine in the book. I also really enjoyed the appearance of Neil Shara. I don't know why he didn't have on a gala outfit. I guess that means he's like not living on the island.
Yeah.
But that was just. I'm just a Neil fan. Betsy Todd is boyfriend, so.
Agreed.
I'm here for that. Ooh, that would also be nice tension too if he made the board. But nonetheless, I think the premise is kind of boring. So it's like no matter how well it might be written or how much sense it's not grabbing me.
If anyone was looking for any kind of deference in opinion from me, I'm sorry. Because I agree. I mean, difference in opinion, sorry. I completely agree. Because, like, this is boring. It's not that I dislike the issue, like, where it was terrible. I just found it kind of boring and a kind of a drab to read. It was cute to see, Monet getting dressed and getting ready for the gala and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I didn't really care. I don't really care about the Fenris kids. Yeah. I know that they're like Baron Strucker's kids, and that's like where their money comes from, and they're like evil or whatever. But like them as villains, I do not care.
Yeah, I don't know.
And again, same with Monet. Like Monet for me is fun when she's just like the sassy girl, but outside of that, I don't really care.
I don't really disagree with too much of that. But
I'm sorry.
And I like seeing Monet and Trinery.
This book could easily be rolled up into into Marauders.
Yeah, and I think that's my thing with it too. I don't feel as though it needs to be its own book. It very much feels like a B plot in somebody else's book.
Yeah.
And it could stay there. We could be using this for something different.
I give it a 2 out of 5.
Damn. I'll give it a 2.5. What do you give New Mutants?
New Mutants, I would give a 3 out of 5.
Same. I would also give that a 3 out of 5. And Planet Size.
That's a 5 out of 5.
For sure. Absolutely. Right here. That's what I love. That's a 5. That was a 5 out of 5. I especially like just when they brought everybody else to the planet. And like just the snapshot of like the mutants coming out of the gate and seeing Planet Rock, like what a moment!
Celebrate Planet Rocco, and like they set up their own ring for the next X of Swords. It looks like.
Yeah, we're here.
I also love that. I personally love the like cosmic implications that a lot of this is going to have out there in all the other books in Marvel Cosmic. If anybody remembers the Shi'ar when they got to the Hellfire Gala. They congratulated the mutants and said, congratulations on conquering this planet. Mm-hmm. So, like, some people out in space aren't going to see this as, like, the expansion of mutant kind and all that kind of stuff. Some people out there are going to look at it as mutants have conquered a planet. And I don't know if that's a good thing for them or a bad thing. So,
I mean, Magneto even, like, had that little conversation when Storm came to congratulate him. And he was like, I'm pretty sure the humans are going to be mad and say that we've done something that they were never going to be able to do.
Anyway.
It's just
like, okay, who cares if we took Mars? You could come take it back.
Yeah, what? Like, you had this little rover up here. It's gone now.
Yeah.
It was a moment. I'm really excited for the future of that book. I really wanted a Rocco book. I know a lot of people were excited for like Destiny and all that stuff. I don't care about her. Take Planet Araka with X Club, preferably.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Right?
Ooh, Iceman on that team and working with them.
He helped make it.
I like that.
You see the vision?
I see the vision.
I'm gonna let everybody marinate on the vision. We're gonna go ahead and take a break.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the panel section for this episode. And this week, I wanted to get into the ninja girl that is...
Salah.
We don't know her. We're talking about Elektra Nachios. The reason Psylocke put on that suit, she is... When it comes to like the whole femme fatale motif, she was like that girl was, so that, especially when it comes to like being the cool girl. For a while she was that. And yeah, I wanted to give us a little bit of talks with her. She's been going on doing some really cool stuff in Daredevil right now. and getting some great development with her character. And so I wanted to give a little spotlight to Elektra. Now, before we get started, are you a fan of Elektra, or is this another one of my faves that you go out the drag?
Um, so no, but but I don't dislike her, if that
Okay.
makes sense. I
Okay.
respect her and her standing. I like understand where she is. Like she is that girl. She's Elektra. She's gonna be here. Um, she's gonna do what she needs to do. But I never really jumped to read an Elektra story, if
Fair.
I'm being honest. But I do respect her and where she stands in Marvel.
That's fair. She hasn't really had too many like big iconic kind of solo stories. There were
Mm.
some the Elektra Assassin by Frank Miller. I've never read it before. I've heard different opinions about it.
It's not.
That I think
It's
it's yeah.
it's. I mean, for her.
Right, right. That's what I mean. It's not good for her. Like it's all about her being the cool girl and
Yeah.
it's super sexy and all that. But once to get started, I wanted to give a little bit of origin story for Elektra. So most people already know her. She's the girl in red with her do-rag on, and she always
Mm-hmm.
enters
To
uh
define rap.
stays wrapped. She enters Daredevil's life as kind of like his love interest, and she is an assassin. Now, to dive back into that, Elektra studied martial arts as a kid. She, got into it after seeing her brother. She has or had siblings, an older brother who was into martial arts. Her dad is a Greek ambassador, and because of that, that always brings about, or at least in comic book world anyway, assassins and people kind of come for the family. So there was a
Mm-hmm.
time where her family was attacked, and her older brother was actually able to defend them from some attackers, and that kind of really sparked her interest into getting to martial arts. So from a young age, she got into martial arts and like ballet and all that kind of stuff, and really got her like athleticism down. And she was not one to be afraid to really like push herself
Mm-hmm.
in a fight. She also was really big into like her family and
Mm.
especially her relationship with her parents. Homegirl's got mommy issues and daddy
Don't we
issues.
all? Don't we all?
Okay. And she was when she was born, her mom died during childbirth,
Okay.
and her dad was the one who ends up raising her, so she ends up becoming really close with her dad and having a really close relationship there. So she grew up, got older. She went to Columbia University to study political science, and while her dad
You
was
know
an
poli
ambassador
sci.
to Greece, I know, right? I did you know I started as a poli sci in
Did you?
school?
That I feel like that tracks.
I changed it. I can
I can
I
see
can,
that starting out for a young LZ.
yeah, that was almost the move. And accounting too, but like no.
That also sounds right.
No. I ended up going with neuroscience. So
There we go. That's the path that we had to take.
anywho, um,
Ah,
so Elektra is off studying poli sci at Columbia University because her dad is an ambassador over there in New York. So she's going to school. That's where she meets Matt. So while she's like on campus, she's supposed to be like 19 years old, I think they say. It's like a freshman in college. Matt is like instantly smitten, because she's Elektra.
she smells good.
Right.
Good fancy
Right.
there.
Right. I didn't get that part yet. But he's in love, and he tries to stop her, and she's like not paying him any attention and completely ignores her. He tries to invite her out to go like to a game later, and she's like, "Oh, I can't really go with you." And he's like, "Oh, is it because I'm blind?" And she's like, "Oh no, I just like I don't."
That's
And
so
kind of
rude.
away, right? So
Mm.
Daredevil is like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let this pass me by. Like, I think I really like this girl." So he stops her. He goes, "Hey, olive oil," and like
Oh,
leaps over to her,
that's
which like
so
that's kind of problematic because she's from Greece.
good. I also just jumping back really quick to the whole is it because I'm blind? Who would admit that?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, oh yeah, no, that's not why I'm gonna date you. Ah, I love comic books.
Yeah,
Continue.
great. So like he calls her olive oil, which it becomes like a nickname that he calls her. Again, I don't know if that's problematic. It probably is a little bit because she is from Greece. So uh,
But
they
why would that even be like an endearing nickname?
it's like I think at the time it was like Popeye and olive oil, right? Like,
Oh gosh, is
but
that
then,
what?
like
No,
that's worse. 'Cause wasn't she like a damsel in distress?
it's just wow. You gotta not really do.
Yeah, this was the early time. So they date for like a year, is what the comic says. They like date for a year, and later, because her dad is an ambassador, he ends up getting kidnapped by some criminals. They are about to kill him. Matt's out, and he hears it because he's Daredevil, and he tries to do a rescue attempt. And while he's in there about to rescue Elektra from being shot, he yells at her, "Hit him low, olive oil," and like she does this like cool move, and that becomes like their thing. And one of the guys who has a gun, though, he falls through the window, and the police officers downstairs think that that was a killer,
Okay.
and that was one of the killers. So like, and it was one of the shooters, but I'm sorry, actually, I got that wrong. One of the killers falls through the window, and the police officer thinks it's a hostage. So
Mm.
they are like, "Oh my gosh, the criminals inside are throwing hostages out the window." Like the next line of like shot that I get, clear shot of a person I get, I'm gonna like shoot them because of
Mhm.
course that's what cops like, you know,
Cops. Cops.
cops being cops. And the person who ends up in the window though ends up being Elektra's dad. And the entire
Oh,
time
that's
Daredevil's
sad.
like, get down. And he's like, wait, what? He's confused. He stands up, and the cop ends up shooting and killing, and
Can I
killing.
say that? I'm pretty sure that's like a very genuine moment that people have. They get confused. But it's like, if you hear me yelling, get down, please don't stand up.
Don't stand up. Right. So he ends up dying, and like that completely shatters Elektra's world. She ends up not liking Daredevil because of that. Although she later ends up figuring out that it was Matt that was involved in that. But she doesn't really like Daredevil because of that. She leaves and drops out of Columbia University, and then she goes off and she wants to become an assassin. So
Okay.
she wanted to
I
hone her
support her.
martial arts so that she would never be in a situation like that again. So she goes off and starts training with Stick. And for Daredevil fans out there, y'all know who
Uh,
that is. Um,
uh,
However, Stick is with the Chast, who is like they're like this organization they want to take down the Hand. While he's training her, he ends up like stopping the training and tells her get out because he senses a darkness in her, and he's like, I don't want to train you anymore. Like you've got this darkness in you. You got to leave. And she's like, what? I like what's going on? I don't know. I don't like this going on. That's not fair. Like I put my life on the line to really come here. So she leaves and she meets up with her old sensei, and her plan is always, and this becomes a running theme with Elektra, is she was going to infiltrate the Hand to impress Stick so that he sees that like there wasn't darkness in her, and she was going to take them down from inside.
daddy issues.
Daddy issues.
Daddy
Yeah.
issues. I get it. Yeah.
Exactly. So like um she ended up never doing it. So she joined the Hand, got the information, but like never took it over. She just quit and became an assassin. So
Okay.
uh some people kind of believe that the Hand kind of nurtured and helped grow the darkness, quote unquote, that was inside of her.
Mhm.
Um and I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like they were trying to explain her being okay with like killing as like
Mm.
this like inner entity thing that was with her, because later there's a time where like the darkness becomes its own character. It was weird.
Instead of her just like liking to kill
Yeah. Or like just
or being a
being
little
okay.
crazy.
Yeah. But like she unlike the Daredevil Netflix show, that kind of made her come across as bloodlusted and like Melina from Mortal Kombat. She's not like
She
a
did give Melina
bloodlusty.
a very good name.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not like a bloodlusty, I just love to kill, I'm out here doing all of that. She just doesn't have any kind of moral standpoint when it comes to killing. There's a line for her there.
And I
You
guess
know.
I think that's always been one of my things with Elektra. Like I said, I respect Elektra a lot. I love watching her on page, doing her fighting thing. Um, you're always going to get a good battle. I think there was this one Black Widow run written by Marjorie Liu,
Mhm.
and there's a fight scene between Black Widow and Elektra. That's just like really good, and it's not them doing
They fought a lot.
really okay. um, but and I really appreciated this one because it was very much so they weren't really trying to kill each other or hurt each other. It was just like Elektra was like, "Look, I heard you've been asking about me. What's going on?" And Black Widow's like, "I'm trying to find something else." So they just kind of have this moment, test each other's skills, and she's like, "Look, just do what you need to do. Leave me out of it." And she's like, "Cool." But it's like it's just great to see. Like that's what I need Elektra to do. I truly don't care about getting into her personal life. I'm sorry about her dad. It's very sad. But
That's where her sadness comes from, is her daddy.
but I think also it's like you said, a lot of the time she's written as that like cool girl, and they talk about like that coldness and that darkness, and how it's just like nothing there. So it's kind of never really been anything for me to get too attached to, as opposed to this current Daredevil run, where she
Mhm.
is like kind of growing these attachments, and that shows the family aspect that I guess I've kind of missed from her in a lot of these other stories.
It's been really nice to see her in this current Daredevil run kind of really get some more character personality, because like you said, when I first got into Elektra, I was a kid, and side anecdote story. This was like fifth or sixth grade, I think.
Mhm.
Maybe sixth or seventh grade, somewhere in like in early middle school, and we were in art class, and we had to make something out of popsicle sticks for like extra credit, and I made
Mm-hmm.
Psy.
Sigh. Oh, you're a sigh girl? I'm a dagger.
Yeah, I'm a Psy girl.
Big old
and
dagger.
and they were like not just on paper, like in like they were like legit, like you could whip them around and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I like went all out with these. They were really big. I got like 50 points of extra credit for
Come
it.
on, 50 points.
Yeah, I remember specifically because the teacher was like, "What are these?" And I was like, "Oh, they're these things that like Elektra uses." So yeah, um, but
so
she's always been like kind of the cool girl for me there. Sh- but as I got older and started getting more into comics, her personality for me is something that you have to kind of dig from. She can kind of suffer from the Madonna horror complex in literature, which is she's either the Madonna archetype for Daredevil to kind of reach and try to attain, or she has been depicted as the cool girl horror thing, which is like just in skimpy clothes and I'm really cool and I'm
she's
this
here to
like
be
sex
sexy
object.
and fight
Yes.
and like get naked. She's
Right.
got her little flap showing her little leg. I
Right.
get it.
I'm not obviously calling her a whore, but I mean the literal study of the
Term.
Madonna complex. Yeah. So I feel as though that has been something she's suffered from,
Mm-hmm.
but there have been moments where you really can kind of get into her character, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole Black Widow thing, I wasn't aware until I started to do more digging with her. They got beef. um,
Yeah, that's
and
why she came at her. She was like, "I heard you been asking about me." She was like, "What's going on?"
which like in there, so like in this one book, Black Widow, by the way, was actually there during her resurrection. So everybody knows that Elektra ends up getting killed by Bullseye, right? And she gets resurrected by the Hand. Black Widow was actually involved in that. Daredevil called for some assistance, and he called on Black Widow because she's like a spy and all that stuff. So they go back, and during that time, she was like kind of apprehensive about wanting to resurrect her because she doesn't trust her. You know, Black Widow's whole thing is like
No,
trusting and all
yeah,
that
it
stuff.
happens every year. It literally
Yeah.
happens every year.
And because she's all like that, she feels that she has this like probably, I don't know, high ground on who should be trustworthy and all that kind of stuff. So she doesn't trust Elektra. And remember earlier when we kind of started this podcast, actually, you were trying to get me into starting that Daredevil run,
Mm-hmm.
and you had said that like he had gotten his identity like put out there before.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time called the Murdoch Papers, which
Mm-hmm.
happened during the Marvel Knights Bendis era.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. Yes, 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 yes.
there were these papers that were going to come out that would confirm that Matt Murdock was Daredevil, and Kingpin was going to be the one to kind of put this out there because he was like, I got the receipts, I have the tea, I have it, and I look. And so Elektra pops up after being gone for a while. Like she had been resurrected and was like gone for a while in comics. She pops back up in Daredevil's life and was like, so listen, um, there was a time when Kingpin hired me, which if just to give a little bit of backstory for her history, after she became an assassin, Kingpin hired her as his assassin, and that's what ended up having her cross paths with Bullseye. But you know, she was like, "Listen, there was a time when I worked for Bullseye, and I may have told him some things that he
You
didn't
know, just a few things here and there.
just a couple things, and I'm sorry, but I'm here now and I'm here to help you out." And she came back to kind of help him out, and Black Widow shows up and she's like, "Why is this ninja here?" And I was like, "Girl, what did you really want to call her?"
Olive
And
oil.
then, and then like they end up fighting because Black Widow does not trust Elektra like at all. So I didn't know that they had this beef. Not mad at it, and I am Team Elektra Widow. So keep it cute.
I guess.
Ooh, okay.
Guess
I'm just
that's where
saying
you want to
she
be.
can get got like the rest of them.
That's where you want. She hasn't been yet though, so.
Not yet. Although she like trip and break her neck and die or something.
No, she was hitting with a shield in her neck, protecting a young black man. Can Elektra say the same?
It looked like she tripped and she just like, can't even walk in a straight line without dying. What a shame. Anywho,
Well, speaking of dying, and Elektra.
yes, speaking of dying, Elektra was resurrected by Stone, who is someone who was a part of the cast. And when she came back, do you remember when Wolverine had no nose?
Yeah, that was weird. And the
Yeah.
bandana, that was weird.
Yeah, she was like contracted by Shield and Nick Fury to become like his caretaker during that time and was trying to help him. It was a weird time. Whatever.
Some
Um,
stuff.
Long story short, after she got resurrected, she ended up working with Shield for a little bit because whenever they had incidents where they didn't want the U.S. to be involved, they
Hmm.
would contract her to do it. And
She's been around the block a little bit.
listen, Homegirl is like the assassin.
So we just mentioned her a little bit earlier. So I take it you didn't care for Daredevil Elektra in Netflix. Daredevil Elektra.
There, okay. If anybody pull up receipts of me talking about it back then, I did like it. Because I think I was just excited to see her on screen.
She looked.
Um,
Hello
she
Young is like a beautiful, sexy. She is. She's Elektra.
she looked great, right? But no, I did not like it. They like I said, they made her like Melina. She
Mm.
was just this like bloodlusted character. They took out her family aspects, which that kind of really grounds her and gives her like the reason of why she wanted to become an assassin versus they just made her like the black sky and there was this like evil in her and like she didn't know how to be good. That for me takes away the agency from Elektra, which I like because she's not just the cool girl. She makes the decisions on her own.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like a Netflix Daredevil Elektra, and I
No.
remember that. Like you pull up tweets and now be saying that she was like, it was always something about that season. I remember because I really enjoyed the Punisher stuff, And
Mm.
once that part had kind of ended, I was like, this season just fell off so hard. And I was like, oh, it's Elektra. But I think it's like you said, she was very much Melina, and I don't like Melina.
Yeah, we could do without that. Hopefully, when she finally debuts in the MCU, they get a better
Do you
version of her.
have a do you have like a dream casting?
I don't fan cast too often because of like fear of whatever of whoever they get, and like I don't want to be in it. But I did try to look up like Greek actresses to see who could
Mhm.
play her, and I didn't come up with anything. So
If
they
anybody
just
has Elektra
um,
fan cast, please let us know.
yeah, I would love to
If
know.
sh if her in the MCU, do you have a, pivoting over there, of course. Do you have a preference of like which kind of story beat you would like them to see for her, or a particular run? Because she's had a couple of solo runs, hasn't she?
Yeah, so she's had a few solo runs. My favorite ones have been actually more recent solo runs that she's had. There was a run that came out in 2014 by I think his last name was Blackman and Del Mundo,
Oh
and
yeah, I remember that
that
one.
that one was actually really good. The art was really great and the writing was fantastic. You got inside of her head. She kind of confronted her mommy issues where before they would always kind of just bring up, oh my gosh, she I was born and then my mom died and like I
Mhm.
became really close to my dad and does he resent me for that or something? In this book, you see that like she talks about that it probably was hard for her dad growing up looking like like the mom and
Mm.
the things that like she probably may have caused within like her home and stuff like that. It was really good. I would
Mm.
definitely recommend something like that. It also focused on her being an assassin more.
Mhm.
So
I
I would
remember a lot of those like assassin pages from Del Mundo and the art.
mhm.
Phenomenal. Like the spreads he used to do always looked really, really good.
Yeah, she fought Lady Bullseye in that. Of course, took her down.
Oh, I love
Um, yeah, she fought a couple people in that. I also was interested in the. I used to not like the kind of weird, creepy villains, but the villain Bloody Lips was interesting in it and like what he could do. He could, if he like ingested a piece of his enemy, he gained all of their memories and abilities. So
Oh, that sounds like Moon Knight level type stuff. I'm here for
yeah, it
that.
was like very Moon Knight-y. I'll never really get into like that culty kind of stuff, but it was cool for Elektra.
Um,
I'd
so with her like
also
current
would
status,
recommend the there was a run in 2017 that came out as well that was by Matt Owens and oh man, who did the art? Wonka Ball did the art. I will say that run isn't very like deep. You don't get a lot of like you don't get a lot of like Electra like inter like interspectrum on her.
hmm
It's all like it's just Electra being cool in arcade world in Vegas. It's like 5 issues. There
I mean,
was
but it's Wonka Ball, so I'm pretty sure it looks amazing.
oh, it looks beautiful. There was a moment in it though where I felt personally attacked because
Hmm
arcade has Electra like turned into a whole nother costume and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you look amazing," and Elektra's like, "Aren't you here to kill me or something? Like, why do you don't even
hmm
like me?" And Arcade's like, "All men like ninjas." And I was like, "Well,
That's a word. Hey,
kind of
he
damn
ain't
right."
lie.
He didn't
I
lie.
just told you, just like, hey, I love to watch her come in and do her thing. I'm actually probably gonna go and read that Wonka Ball.
I
No,
think you
that's
would like it because she does her thing in it.
it's just like, hey, I'm here to watch you fight all
They
the
were
time.
trying to give her a little bit of the synergy with the Daredevil. That's where she had the costume with the ponytail and the mask and
Oh, the
everything.
all black. Yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, cause she had a good fight with Iron Fist too. That's when Bendis had his little what was
So
that? Uh,
that run
Defender book.
with Juan Cabal actually ends with her going back to New York because this all takes place in
Mm-hmm.
Vegas. That ends with her going to New York to probably go handle Iron Fist.
Yeah, that was a good thing. Yeah, she. I'm going to look that up. I love me some Wonka
If
Ball.
there's one thing my girl's gonna do, it's beat somebody's ass.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect that a lot. So
um, she's had some
where's
great,
she?
great origin story in my opinion. As far as hers, and she's really stuck with her with her whole like I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, I would like characters who really own that about themselves. And again, y'all have probably heard me say it on this podcast before. I love a I know who I am. I'm just trying to figure out where I belong kind of character.
Hmm. So with her new little space as Daredevil, is that something? Obviously, I don't think she'll be Daredevil for a very long time.
Obviously,
But coming out of that, is that the path that you would like to kind of see her continue on? Do you want, now that you've seen it, do you
absolutely
want to
not.
see something different?
Absolutely not. No, we've done that now. This is cute,
Okay.
and and the Daredevil thing is fun, but it's time for her to after this is done,
Mhm.
and she takes from this experience whatever she takes from this experience. She don't got to do this whole Daredevil I'm gonna be a hero thing anymore. She probably is gonna learn what it means to be Daredevil and apply that to herself. You
Mhm.
know, kind of what that means for her. She probably still gonna kill, but
Yeah.
I would like her to really actually take over the hand
Mm.
herself and not on some I'm gonna infiltrate it to kind of take them down thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather just become queen of the hand or something like that on her own and
Okay.
maybe change what the hand means or something like that.
Okay. Do you have anyone who you want to write that?
Hmm. I haven't really thought about that part because I haven't um thought I can't keep giving Kelly Thompson all I can't keep giving all of it's to her or to Hickman or something like that. So I gotta think about it. Maybe someone new. Give someone else a try. I know it, like I said in that Black Man Del Mundo run, she was also facing like the Assassins Guild. So some of
Mm.
the other assassins would come in from this from the Marvel universe, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Scout Hunter made an appearance. We
Okay.
see him over in Hellions. So I think that like she could also do something like that. Maybe take over the Assassins Guild. So like all assassin contracts go through her or something. I love for her to just make more of a like a stamp on
And the
that world.
assassin.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I
Assassin,
guess.
Assassins or the hand, something where it's like she can have ownership over it instead of trying to be within it.
And working for somebody else. Okay.
Time.
This
Maybe that's
time.
what she learned about Daredevil, that he's so autonomous that she could be too, and that she could join and like kind of control something like that.
So how do you feel about their relationship? Are you into actual like Elektra and Matt? Do you prefer her when she's not around? I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure you like when she's not around him, but
Right.
when they are together, but
You
when
know, I
they
like
are
my
together,
man.
but when they are together, do you like the pairing? Do you think they get along well? Does it work for you? No. Do you want them to like separate for a few years?
Reading their origin and like those original Daredevil books, you know, back when she was first introduced, they really do have a great like chemistry and like love for each other. He like
Okay.
right off the bat when he first met her told her all about the whole accident and his powers and all that kind of stuff and talks about how much he can open up to her and he just feels comfortable with her. So I do think there's a deep love there. Their problem for me, I like their relationship. I just don't think it'll ever be because neither one of them are changing.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
true.
mean? Like
Very much so.
he's not going to like be okay with killing, and she probably not gonna stop. So I don't think
Hey.
that it is what it is. I don't think that they'll ever like be together, and that's
Yeah.
okay. So I do think it's probably best that they've kind of moved past the whole will they won't they thing, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
because they can
They
always
won't.
just have a cute moment with exactly because they won't.
They won't. Sorry. Okay. Well, outside of Matt, do you have anyone who you would like her to kind of like see her with? Give
um
it a test. I know how you have your like Polaris Exodus ship
oh
up there.
any of my can see her with no,
Yeah.
you know, not necessarily. Okay. This isn't because they are a fave, and I think actually I would rather have him show up in the book
Okay.
and it's Taskmaster
Okay.
I don't know if they'd have to. I don't know if they could date, but I think they'd be fun
You think they'd be a
together.
fun pair?
They'd be a
I
fun.
could see her. I could see her getting annoyed by him for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He'd be annoying, and I could see them like having some fun on some assassination missions and stuff. And I could also see him like never admitting it, but his inner monologue really respecting her
Mm.
because she has the same kind of, you know, morals as he does,
Yeah.
which is I'm just
100%.
trying to get a check.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Electra said,
I'd either put her with
I can see
maybe a
that.
girl,
Oh.
you know, maybe.
Lesbian. Okay.
maybe,
Let's be friends. Okay.
maybe,
Sue. Spice
maybe.
it up.
No, no, I'm kidding. That would be boring. I feel like that would be. Um, no, I feel like Electro will want to be with somebody more fun. Maybe
Yeah.
Titania.
Titania would be nice. Oh yeah, then they can go fight She-Hulk. I'm here for it.
Mm. Yeah,
Big clap.
I like it. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to give a backdrop on Elektra. I think that she is a fantastic character, getting some great stuff over in Daredevil right now, and she's had a little bit of a rocky, not a rocky start. Her start has been fantastic, but like in the middle, child,
Yeah.
it's the epitome of like the cool girl,
I was about to
and
say she got that cool girl treatment for a while.
yeah, but luckily enough, she's been coming up on the other side of that. Right now my faves are starting to look things is looking up for them. Not all of
They
them,
are actually.
not all of them, because Sue's.
I'm very. I think some of my energy is like coming towards you, and
Appreciate that.
you're starting to feel the benefits of that, and I'm very excited about this for you.
I'm happy
Um,
for that. I got my Elektra is doing great, and
mhm.
Daredevil, Captain Marvel is probably the best she's ever been written in how I don't know how long. Um, Polaris is about to be on the X-Men. Exodus just transported an island to Mars.
I had that really weird week where Ran V and Al Ewing got announced on Venom, and like Wonka Ball's going to
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther. That was
Hmm.
kind of strange. I don't know what happened that week. It was like some voodoo. There's this one Jean Grey fan who I'm pretty sure is responsible for that. But we'll get into that
Maybe they can switch the mojo over
later.
and
But
put
we're
the
back
magic
on
up.
track now. We're back on track. I've got my Jackson book. He's becoming Aquaman. Black Manta got his book announced. Yeah, we got a lot of good things happening.
Things are looking up for you too.
Morocco just got a planet.
Yeah,
X of Swords is thriving.
I think.
Thriving. Those things are thriving. The Vampire Nation is doing amazing right now. Um,
Vampires are everywhere right now.
it's fantastic. I love it. It's
Like, damn, and
fantastic.
it's not even Blade. Like, they just popping
Like
up.
legit, like they have like a Vampire Nation. Dracula has his little group in Chernobyl. You got the Vampires of Sebelith popping up in like the X books. Blade is doing whatever. They're everywhere. It's great. They were in Wolverine. It's fantastic.
Mm,
I love it.
we'll see about that. I don't know if I love it. I need robots.
I would like a Blade book, but that's a whole different thing.
Oof. We'll definitely have to tackle that. Maybe a Blade panel.
Oh, child, please stay away from that. Oh,
All right, let's take a break and then we'll come right back.
all right. Oh, I've been cracking my neck lately. It's so bad. I'm getting old. All right, you guys, welcome back to everyone's favorite part of the show, another relaunch. Oh, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You know what? I can go first. So,
Okay, hit
this
me.
character that I am going to relaunch is I talked about him earlier. This has been his week. I'm wearing his logo right now, and it's Static. So,
Hmm.
everybody knows how much I love Static and what I would love to see for the character and what would keep me really interested in the character. And so, my relaunch for him is his. current solo series right now is going to be like I think a tennis shoe kind of mini, and there may be like other seasons that follow. His season two, if he is a sophomore in high school now, I'd make his season two. He's a sophomore in college, so we jump to the next
Mm.
stage, and we finally get to see Virgil be like a sophomore. You're like what, 20 years old?
20. Yeah.
Yeah, like right before he can actually start to be 21 and do all that kind of stuff. We could finally see like a
Make
little
him
bit.
21 so he can drink.
That too actually would be bad. I was thinking of that.
The folks love to see the kids getting sloshed.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with it. I would go ahead and make him 21 then, and that brings on a whole new like level of problems because I don't need to see him trying to figure out his lock combination anymore. I need to get to something that the meat of the story and just letting him grow up a little bit. So I would have him grow up, have him and Richie, I don't know, either go to the same college or different colleges and talk about
Mhm.
that. I would give in the relationship with him and Free to let it go, call that just high school puppy love or whatever, and actually let him start to kind of date in college. Finally, the whole I'm in
Yeah.
college and I'm going
Live
through that whole.
life. I'm free. You got.
I'm, the college was a good time.
All right. Oh,
It is time for Static to have a good time, so I would relaunch him there.
okay. I like it. I would probably read that because I would not read high school version. I mean, I'm gonna check out the first issue of this out of respect for you. But
Appreciate
okay, so well, I had a relaunch, but when you just brought up Blade, it kind of opened my mind. So he's actually going to be my relaunch now, and it was talking about like it just like I love vampires and I can never get enough of them. So for my relaunch for Blade, one thing I would actually have him do right now, Jason Aaron kind of has him being the sheriff of the vampire town that Dracula set up in Chernobyl. I actually want Blade to become king of the vampires. One of the things he's always really been the vampire hunter. So he's going against them, he's killing them, but like now that we've seen that they've got a little bit higher thought and what's going on, I would also like to see Blade kind of come back into a not back into it because he's never really been into it, but see what it feels like to be in this leadership role. And not only just like a normal leadership role, but like one of kind of controlling entire people and then making them see the error of their ways, or like not even the error of their ways, because they're probably still going to drink humans or something like that, but just trying to tame them in a way that makes them a better society. And on the flip side of that, I would bring in the daughter of Fallon that never got introduced, who was supposed to come around all those years ago. I would finally bring her in full force, and I would use her in helping him. She would be like the enforcer to go and find rogue vampires, so she would be the new vampire hunter.
Oh, okay. Would
And then
she be
she,
wrangling them in to bring them into Chernobyl or something?
yeah, basically. And then you that way you can also build up her relationship with her dad. And it's like, okay, now you finally meet your dad, and like he's king of the people. So the relationship you could have built is like going to be strained even more. And then you
Ooh.
get to see, and then you get to see the new girl in action.
And we love a new girl in
We
action.
love a new girl in action.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, Blade's king of the vampires, trying to change things around. The daughter is the new vampire hunter, getting the bad ones in.
I love it. I would read that because Fallon, I'm definitely here for her. I
The
don't really like
design was.
that, but like Fallon would get me.
I'm really shocked. I mean, I honestly do kind of think they're gonna bring her back, but I just think. So it was funny that you mentioned doing a Blade panel because I actually had been reading a bunch of Blade comics recently, and like they're not good. Blade has just like never been blessed with good stories. I'm sorry. And he's the cool boy.
Mm.
He's here to like fight, do some stuff, and then he's gonna dip out. And when you give him solos, they're not good. So it's like he needs something to ground him. The daughter would be that, and I want them to bring her in, but I think they're just waiting until the movie
The
because I think
movie.
that's when the next Blade resurgence is gonna come.
Yeah, that might be the premise of the movie. Because I wouldn't be
I
shocked
think
if they would want to do something different than the other Blade movies, you know what I'm saying? And they could maybe want to do the daughter that would give her
Mhm.
longevity and put her with like the young Avengers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for because I mean, and we talked about this a lot, but Blade is one of those characters where he's getting kind of old. And like the newer people who are coming in to read about comics are not going to want to be read about him in particular. And if you're going to keep him around, again, who's the best with the daughter? Young, hip, she fights. Maybe even give her some magic, because you know the gays love a witch.
Now, if you gave her magic, that would pretty much just like.
Maybe she could blade magic.
That may be doing too much.
Now
you're doing too much.
But you haven't gotten that far in Castlevania yet, so we'll wait for that.
Fair.
We'll wait for that discussion later. Okay, but regardless, Blade's King of Vampires, that's the relaunch of the show. That's what I got.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Please make sure you are subscribed to us on Twitter and YouTube at Another Relaunch TV. We're on Twitter at Another Relaunch. You can email us anything you have to say, any questions, concerns, anything you may want us to read out loud at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on social media at UncannyLZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and IG at Keenan Lance. You know there's an underscore at the end.
Yes. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here. See y'all next week.
Peace.